According to SocialToaster, on average, brands generate a 650% ROI for every dollar invested in influencer and advocacy marketing. Yet, the reality is most brands aren't leveraging customer advocacy at all, and those that are aren't actually even really tracking it. Wouldn't you agree that that sounds like a terrific revenue opportunity for marketing agencies? What exactly is customer advocacy? And more importantly, how do we do it well in such a way that will actually deliver ROI for our clients? That's what we're covering in today's episode of Agency Accelerated. Welcome back to Agency Accelerated, the show for agencies who want to grow and scale. Stick with us to learn how you can simplify your growth strategy with a solid takeaway every episode from agency owners and experts in the industry. I'm Stephanie Liu, and I'm here in beautiful, sunny San Diego. And those of you watching live right now, let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. I'd love to see you. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave the comment #replay. So quick shout out to Valeria Carrillo, who said, "Hello, I've been looking forward to this event all day." Yes, me too. It's been a while since we did an Agency Accelerated episode. So I'm super excited to have you here. And for those of you who watch and engage live, you have the opportunity to get your questions answered in real time. So this is very interactive. This is engaging. This is a dialogue. Drop your questions in the comments whenever you have them. Just make sure to put a capital Q and a semicolon. So that way I know that it's a question and not a comment. Not only that though, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe because you know I'm always coming hard when it comes with new episode. In fact, make sure you head on over to agorapulse.com/calendar and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And hey, you know what? Stay until the very end because you'll get a chance to get your hands on a creative way to grow and scale your marketing agency. All right, so we've got Gabe on LinkedIn. Always love to see you. Thank you so much for always showing up, always supporting the show. You are always the best. There's a LinkedIn user and I can't see your name, but I would love to see it. And then there's another one that says, "Hey everyone, Anna Harris is tuning in from Wilmington, North Carolina." Hey, Anna, I think this is the first time that you've actually been on the show live. So I'm super excited to see you. All right, friends. So today, thank you. All right. So today on Agency Accelerated, we're talking about community and customer advocacy. Specifically, like I said at the outset, brands who are leveraging customer advocacy are seeing extraordinary levels on their return on investments and measurable results. Yet many businesses aren't doing customer advocacy at all. So if you're doing it, let me know by dropping them in the comments. And not only that, though, but are your clients leveraging customer advocacy? So, what's helpful to know as well is whether you or your clients have a formal customer advocacy program in place, not something that's ad hoc, that's cobbled together in the background, or you have it shoved off for an intern, but do you actually have a formal process for it? More often than not, I would say that clients don't have that. And it's because we don't know where to start, or not only that, but how to best manage that type of program and what the real benefits are so that way we could communicate that up the chain of command. That's exactly what our guest today is going to talk to us about. Christina uses audience intelligence and social listening to learn more about audiences to determine their needs, behaviors, and so much more. As an advocacy strategist and community builder for HubSpot, her work serves to help brands better connect with their current customers, potential customers, and fans and drive actual revenue. Christina has been a speaker for national events like Inbound, Social Fresh, and many others, and we're excited to have her here with us today. So, Christina, hey, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Happy to have you here. So, Christina, in a previous episode, we had Kevin Lau from Adobe, and he
hmm
was talking about customer advocacy. And one of the things that he said was that customer advocacy means how can we turn our customers into raving fans of Adobe products and solutions? So,
Mhm.
in your experience, especially at HubSpot, how is that the same or how is that different for you?
In some ways, it's very much the same. I want to be able to determine, identify, and amplify our biggest fans, and also figure out what do we need to do to delight our current customer base to a point where they want to be talking about us. They want to be giving us more word of mouth, and that the overall sentiment for the voice of the customer is positive. The way it's a little bit different is that I've been in the HubSpot ecosystem for quite a while before I joined myself, and we already had a fan base. They just weren't being weaponized. They weren't being brought together. They weren't being really celebrated for the love and knowledge that they have for us. So as soon as I started reaching out to the people who I knew were the ones who would raise their hands, who loved us, who knew what we were doing, either customers or partners. And I immediately started those conversations with, I want to know more about you. I want to know what carrot is working for you. How do you feel motivated? Do you feel loved? I think that if you look at HubSpot's ecosystem and the way that we take care of the customer and being incredibly customer centric, that love is already there. It just needs to be tapped. And so my job was to really kind of build out a program that was not only going to be able to identify these people, but take it to the next level and make them feel loved and returned. So Kevin does great work at Adobe. I'm a huge fan of his, and they're doing really great things there. For me, it's how do I make them feel special? How do I make them feel taken care of and appreciated?
I love, yeah, see, there you go. Sound effects, super duper helpful. So, having said that, Christina, just how important is customer delight? And what are some examples of how HubSpot or HubSpot partner agencies, how are they doing that so well?
Yeah. I think what's really important for customer advocacy and also taking care of delight is you have to start by doing what they paid you to do. A lot of people assume that they can just give swag, and swag's great, but you need to be able to offer more than that. And so I really like to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but do it from a delight perspective. And so if that survival realm at the very bottom of the pyramid, where for needs it would be like water, food, and shelter, for a business or for an agency, it starts with actually just doing what you were paid to do. And sadly, it's 2022 and there's still tons of businesses who still don't deliver on what they promised. And so I believe in delighting customers. I believe in taking care of them and making sure that they have an elevated experience that differentiates them from others. But you have to start with that foundation of doing what you promise, doing what you have in that contract, doing what they are expecting. And from there, you can delight them, making sure that they feel taken care of, that they get value. One of the things that's really helpful for HubSpot agencies is they create a ton of content. So whether you are a customer or not, you can go there and go to their websites and see like the blog pages they have, the webinars they're doing, the hug groups that they're a part of. They're providing opportunities very similarly to what HubSpot does, but on like a micro scale. Either it's local or it's for their specific niche customer base, but they're providing value. It's very value first, which is inbound, which is at the heart of everything we do. So you need to make sure that you're doing what you promised, that you're taking care of them and giving them value without asking for anything in return. And then you have to know what they need before they realize they need it. And know that it feels personal, it feels human. Relationships at their best are not automated. And if they are automated, they still need to have that touch of humanity in them so that people don't feel like they're getting the same email as 20,000 other people. They still feel special.
I love that you added that tidbit about adding that humanity when things are so automated. Because oftentimes I feel like when we sign up or we subscribe to something, it feels as if we're just on the same conveyor belt. It's like this
Yeah.
cookie cutter approach. And one of the things that Jarek Robbins, who was on our, I think, season one episode before, but he had said that the most frustrating thing that can happen on the planet is where you want this one basic thing and this other person will give you everything else except that
Yeah.
one basic thing. And it's like, come on, if it's whether it's customer support or just
Mm-hmm.
giving me the resource that I need in order to get from point A to point B, just like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's always
Yeah.
very helpful. So, Christina, over the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
the social media landscape has changed dramatically. just both
Mhm.
in terms of networks and capability, but also usage and demographics, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, how have you seen customer advocacy evolve in that time frame? Where are you seeing these conversations and where are you pulling sentiment from?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to look at how those conversations are happening online. I do a lot of social listening daily to figure out how are people talking about HubSpot, our industry as a whole, and what their needs are. I think it's really important that customer advocacy can go into multiple realms. So a lot of people see customer advocacy and they'll start and stop with UGC. They'll have user generated content and be like, "See, this is what it actually looks like. Here's an unboxing video," and then they'll stop. And that only works for like a certain piece of the pie. That only works for certain demographics that are actually swayed by UGC. But what about customer stories? What about featuring them in your content beyond UGC, where I'm hearing a testimonial, a customer story? Because at the end of the day, we believe strangers on the internet. Brands are going to tell you they're great. Like, of course they are. They're going to promise you the moon and the stars, but you're going to believe a stranger who's bought something that you need before you're going to acknowledge that brand. And it doesn't mean that what they're saying is true. It just means that there's more validity for you from them versus the brand. And so it's important to think about how people are using that. TikTok has been a huge game changer because of that lack of polish. And so, whereas if you compared it to Instagram, where everything a few years ago had to be like hyper curated and perfect, and this is kind of this aspirational lens into social, TikTok really broke that apart. And it feels messier, but because it feels messier, it feels more human. It feels more realistic. It feels more playful. It feels more fun. And so, look and see what content's already there, look and see who's already talking about you, and let that be a baseline for what's already there, what's already being talked about for you. And then look and see which of that content is performing the best. Where are people actually drawn to when it comes to that? And let that be a perspective as to maybe this should be a part of our strategy. And more so than that, these are the parts that tend to do well. This audience prefers it when we're funny versus when we're serious, or they prefer more educational content, or they prefer something else. But it's that plus connection. The thing is that we want to have connections with brands because we know we're going to have to spend that money anyway. We are consumers. But if you can make me feel better about who I'm giving my money to, because if I tweet to them positive, they like it. If I tweet to them negative, they like it and they respond and try to resolve my issues. They have missions that I believe in. They feature people who speak well about them. All of those things are really important. Depending on what your goals and your OKRs are, that's going to determine what metrics you look at, whether it's do we have more market share for word of mouth than maybe a competitor? Or maybe we have more word of mouth, but our sentiment's more negative versus theirs. Or how many people are talking about these keywords versus those keywords? Are there pain points that we're missing? Are there things that our competitors are missing out on that we could jump in and really kind of be that solution solver for them? All of those things. It's just constantly going in and understanding that you are dealing with humans. It is a human experiment every day. Their needs may change. The way the economy has just changed in the past week, past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks. There's always some new